let's talk about a silent weapon. Seriously, it's a kind of social attack that doesn't use big, messy scandals or public fights. No, it uses something way more subtle: the quiet, creeping power of concern. Today, we are going to take apart the very architecture of how reputations are systematically destroyed. A good reputation takes a decade to build, but only a few weeks of concerned whispers to destroy. You know, we tend to assume that character assassination is this loud public explosion, right? But the reality, it's much, much more surgical than that. So why is it that the person who claims to be worried about you so often ends up being the one who's quietly turning everyone against you? It's a bizarre twist, isn't it? This is the core paradox of what we call reputation dismantling. That exact moment your integrity gets flipped and turned into a social liability, all under the mask of empathy. This whole thing, it's a precise process that completely avoids open conflict. It just lives in the shadows, in private chats, and shared worries. All right, so here's our game plan. We're gonna start with how concern gets weaponized. Then we'll map out the whole system of dismantling. After that, we'll expose the 3-step takedown, dive into the psychology of control, and most importantly, build your defense protocol so you can start leading your own narrative. The entire goal of this whole process, it's all about pulling off one fundamental shift in how a group sees you. It's about taking your greatest strength, your good name, your reputation, and turning it into this heavy weight that other people feel like they have to carry. And let's be super clear about what's at stake here. On one side, you're a social asset. People want you there. They value what you have to say. Your presence actually makes the group better. But the goal of reputation dismantling is to flip you, to turn you into a social liability. And suddenly, including you on an email feels risky. Bringing up your name in a meeting gets met with that awkward silence. Your name just becomes a burden. Now, this might feel like just some random, messy office politics or family drama, but it's not. What we're talking about here is a documented system. It's a pattern of behavior that behavioral science actually has a name for. It has an architecture, and I promise you, once you see it, you can't unsee it. The official term is relational aggression, and it's this slow, methodical process of replacing who you actually are with a convenient negative story. A narrative that you're unstable or unreliable or incompetent gets built, piece by piece, until the group is basically conditioned to see you only through that lens. And this isn't some rare thing. It happens all the time in high-stakes places, big corporations, competitive social circles, even in some family dynamics where influence is everything. And there are two psychological traps that make this system just brutally effective. First, you have the concern trap. This is where the group gets tricked into thinking that gossiping about your flaws is actually a moral thing to do, right? They're not being mean, they're being supportive by trying to figure out how to handle you. Then there's the defense paradox. The second you try to defend yourself, boom, you walk right into the trap. Your defensiveness gets reframed as the proof of the very instability you were just accused of. It's a nightmare. All of this leads to the ultimate goal, something called narrative capture. This is where one person, the controller, literally hijacks the story of your life. They become the filter for everything you do. Did you just land a huge project? Oh, that was just luck. Made a typo in an email? See, that's a pattern of carelessness. Every single thing you do gets reinterpreted through their negative filter before anyone else even has a chance to see it for what it is. So how does this actually play out? Well, it's not just a chaotic mess of events. It's a playbook. There are 3 distinct, totally predictable stages to this process. Let's break them down. The takedown follows a really clear path. First, the seed of doubt gets planted. Second, the group is primed to go looking for evidence to make it grow. And third, your own reaction is used as the final piece of proof. It all starts right here. Step 1, the concerned seed. This is never ever a public accusation. It's a quiet word, a pull aside in the hallway. The controller shares these privileged worries with someone important in the group. Hey, I'm a little worried about Sarah lately. Has she seemed on edge to you? See, they're not saying you did anything wrong. They're just subtly linking your name to a problem that needs to be solved, planting that little idea that maybe your behavior needs to be watched. And that little seed grows right into step 2, the validation loop. Once that idea is planted, this powerful thing called confirmation bias kicks in for everyone else. Your peers are now primed to see a problem, so they start actively looking for it. And listen, we all make little mistakes, right? But now when you make one, it's no longer just a mistake. It's proof. It's another point on the board that validates the controller's initial concern, and that loop just keeps reinforcing itself. And here is the final, most cynical twist of all. Step 3, the narrative flip. So, as you start to feel that social chill, the weird silences, being left off of things, you naturally get confused or frustrated, maybe even a little upset. And that reaction, that is the final piece of the puzzle for the controller. They can now turn to the group and say, "See, I told you, they're getting so defensive and unstable." Your completely normal human reaction to being mistreated is presented as the ultimate proof that you were the problem all along. And this is the end game. Once that cycle is complete, the controller achieves what's called social proof. A consensus has been built. And at this point, they barely have to lift a finger anymore. The group's powerful biological need to conform just takes over. The negative story isn't an opinion anymore. It's become a social fact, and the whole system just runs on its own. Okay, so we've seen how it's done. But why? I mean, what really motivates someone to meticulously take apart another person's reputation? And what is it that makes someone vulnerable to this kind of attack in the first place? The core conflict is right here. The controller's main goal is social impunity. Think about it. If they can successfully paint you as unstable or incompetent, they never have to worry about you calling them out on their own stuff. Why? Because who's going to believe a troubled person? On the flip side, your vulnerability is your deep human need for belonging. That desire to be accepted by the group is the very lever they pull to manipulate the whole situation. And after weeks, maybe months of this constant pressure, of feeling that social chill, a really dangerous question can start to creep into your mind. And that question leads to identity dissonance. This is the profound internal damage this stuff causes. The outside narrative becomes so persistent, so overwhelming, that you actually start to question your own reality. You start wondering, wait, am I the problem? Are they right about me? It's a terrible state where the group's manufactured story starts to feel more real than your own sense of who you are. So if you find yourself in this situation, how do you possibly fight back against something so subtle? You can't fight whispers by shouting. You have to change the entire game, and that requires a clear two-step protocol. The defense here is not about being defensive. It is all about being strategic. It starts with a shift in your mindset, an audit of your social data, and then it's followed by a clear external action, becoming radically visible. Step 1 is the transparency audit. You have to stop seeing all these awkward moments and social snubs as just bad luck. Start seeing them as data points. The mindset has to shift from, why is this happening to me, to what does this pattern tell me? And then you start asking the most critical question about anyone you suspect. Is this person bringing their concerns to me to work things out, or are they taking them about me to others to build a case? That audit leads you right to step 2, radical visibility. Now, your instinct when you feel attacked like this is to withdraw, to go hide in a shell. That is the absolute worst thing you can do. The counter move is the exact opposite. You have to engage more, but you do it directly and professionally. Document your accomplishments. When you hear about a concern, don't let it fester in private. Address it calmly and openly. You literally drag the conversation out of the shadows and into the light. You have to remember this. The entire system of reputation dismantling depends on secrecy. It thrives on those private conversations, on whispers, on things said when you're not in the room. Privacy is the dismantler's greatest ally. Radical visibility starves the whole system of the oxygen it needs to survive. This brings us to the ultimate lesson from all of this. Understanding this architecture isn't just about playing defense. It's about shifting from a passive hope that your good character will just speak for itself to taking an active role as its spokesperson. If you remember nothing else from our time here, please remember this. In the face of a whisper campaign, silence is not neutral. It is interpreted by the group as a confession. Your refusal to engage is taken as proof that the negative story is true. Your integrity is not self-evident. You have to communicate it. You break the entire cycle the moment you realize that your good name is a live conversation that you have the right and actually the responsibility to lead. Your character is not some fragile opinion that changes with the wind. It is a fact, and you are absolutely allowed to be its primary spokesperson.